just had a customer call me up from town there. Been dealing with them for, I don't know, 20 something years. 20, I don't know, man, 20, 24, 22 years, 23, right around 20 years, we'll just say that. And wasn't nothing major. He's had a flat tire and had pumped it back up, wanted me to check it, make sure there wasn't any nails or in there. Valve stem was tight, all that crap, and a couple other little things on the bike. You know, I'm not going to charge the guy for that stuff. He was my neighbor for 20 years. Actually, more than that. Yeah, probably about 20 years. He was my neighbor. And anyway, went to see him, and we're sitting there talking, and he's like, "Have you heard from this girl?" I'm like, "Nah, not for years. I think she moved out of state." Anyway, this girl, he had called me probably 2003, 2004, somewhere in there, and had this girl who had a Honda VF 500, the little small Interceptor, and didn't have a license yet, just had her learner's permit, and she has taken a motorcycle safety course or something. Had taken it, didn't take it, I don't remember. Anyway, she'd already bought this bike and wanted to know if I'd take a look at it. He did, so this is over the phone. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take a look at it. And he's kind of telling me, you know how that goes. He's relaying information that she told him. And I was like, yeah, just give her my phone number. So she calls me up, wants my address, all that. I give her my address because I'm just working on it at home. Still working full-time at the Harley dealer, but, you know, doing my little side gig thing, make extra money. So she brings this bike up, and we're going over the work order that they gave her. And this was, it wasn't a local Honda dealer. This was a Honda dealer in Raleigh, out there on Route 70. So I'm looking at the work order, and I want to say it was in the neighborhood of $2,600 is what they charged her. You know, and I'm looking it over, and they inspected it. They put new tires on it. They put new brake lines, new brake pads, clutch cable, throttle cable, battery, all this stuff for, you know, I don't know where they came up with $2,600 because it was, man, it's like, damn, that's really expensive. So I asked her, I'm like, well, what's wrong with the bike? It doesn't run. I was like, well, did it run when you picked it up? Yeah. Didn't run well, but it ran. So they charged her all this money just to pass state inspection, but I guess they didn't care if it ran or not, or how it ran. So I'm like, just bring it here. Let me take a look at it. And I'll go over, see what it actually needs beforehand. So she brings it up, and it's not charging. Battery's toasted. Brand new battery, just dead and doorknob. And you know, I don't know if she was trying to start it and crank it and just blew the battery or whatever, but I charged it and ended up having to get another battery and put it in there because that one was just fried. I was like, you'll have to take that battery back up there to them and see if they'll prorate it or whatever. And anyway, went through the bike, put a battery in it, checked the charging system, wasn't charging. So they never checked the charging system on it. And got it running. They had put 4 new plugs in it. Well, the plugs were fouled already, and carbs were leaking out of the float bowls. Had a couple of stuck seats, so it was running on like 2.5 cylinders instead of 4. So pulled the carbs, fixed the carbs, and I'm like, well, shit, this thing's got, you know, 16,000 miles on it, or almost, it was all mid-teens. So I'm like, this is a Honda. I better check the damn valves. So pulled the valve covers off. Of course, they're all out of whack. So I ended up adjusting the valves on it, and did a lot of crap to that bike to get it running good. And it ran really good for being a little teeny bike like this. They're neat bikes. They handle good. They're really light. Great, good beginner bike, I think. Anyway, I didn't charge her no $2,600. That was a lot. That's a lot of work, man. Sinking the carbs, adjusting the valves, going back through everything. Basically, going back and double checking everything that they did up there at that dealer, just to make sure that they actually did what they said, because they have a problem with that. They do have a reputation for not doing exactly what they says on the work order. So got it running really good. I took it out and rode it. I put maybe 50 miles on it, something like that. Usually, that was a good long test ride, just to make sure that it's perfect. And everything was perfect on the bike. So call her up and tell her, I don't remember, I only charged her like freaking $600 or something like that, because it didn't have no parts in it. Well, it did have parts. I had a voltage regulator in there, but that wasn't a whole lot of money. So fixed the bike and told her, and she comes to get it. Now it was $800 is what I charged her. At this point she could have gone out and bought something a hell of a lot newer. But plus, actually at that point she could have bought something brand new, because what she paid for the bike plus what she paid that other dealer and then paid me, she could have got a new bike for that. So somebody saw her coming. Anyway, she comes to get the bike with her mother and takes off down the road. Well, first she gets on the bike and she's fully geared up, helmet, gloves, full suit, all that crap. And she looks the part. So she stalls the bike 4 or 5 times just trying to get out of the driveway, and it almost dumps it turning left out of the driveway. Gets about half a block down the street and stops. Just like freezes, like right there. She doesn't want to move. So I walk down there and I'm like, "What's up?" You can tell she's like, I don't know, I don't want to call it shock, but she's obviously scared. So I told her, I'm like, "Look, don't be scared. Let me have the bike." So I got on the bike and rode it back up to the house there, parked it in the driveway. And her mother's like, "Come here for a minute." Okay, so I go over, and she's like, "What do you think of this?" I'm like, "That's a no-go. She ain't gonna ride home all the way to your house at this time of day in traffic. Ain't no way. I wouldn't let her." So she's like, "What should I do?" I'm like, let me handle it. I'll do it. So, okay. I don't want her to be mad at me. Well, she ain't gonna be mad at you. She can be mad at me. So I go over and I'm like, "Look, you know what? I'd feel really comfortable if you let me take your bike home and drop it off for you. You'd make me feel a lot better." So at first she's like, "Oh, I got it. I'm like, there's a lot of traffic out there and you didn't look really comfortable. It didn't look like you're having a good time. And, I don't want you to get hit by a car." Told her, what you can do, go over to the old Walmart parking lot that's near your house, big parking lot. There's no stores in there anymore, no cars. Set up some cones or whatever and just ride around in the parking lot wherever you can. Just ride around till you start feeling comfortable. And you don't even take it out of first gear. Just don't even, don't put it in second. Just leave it in first gear. Ride around all day long. If you want to run an entire tank of gas in first gear out, have at it. Have fun. I definitely wouldn't be riding around in traffic. Ride around the parking lot for a couple of weeks till you get really comfortable and you're sure. And then only go out on back roads around your house, in your neighborhood or whatever. Don't be going out on the highway yet. Definitely don't be going through town. just little bitty secondary roads. And, she did that for a while. And then she rode up to the shop. At that point, I had quit the Harley dealer and started my own business. And I'm in the back working one day, and I hear this bike pulling up, and it sounds familiar. I mean, it sounds like a little VF 500. Very distinctive sound on that little bike. So she pulls up there, and again, she's all suited up and everything. Wants to know if she could bring the bike in for service on such and such a date. I'm like, yeah, let me make sure I got filters and everything for it. And went out there and looked, and she'd already put like 10,000 miles on the bike. I was like, cool. You've been riding. I go to Raleigh, I go to Cary, I go to all these different places. So I haven't been to the beach on it. Cool. That's great. So it brings the bike in, do the service all. Anyway, the point of this whole thing is, don't be, if you're in the business, don't be screwing over new riders. Don't be screwing over anybody. You know what stuff costs. Don't try to make all your money off of one person. I mean, there ain't no call for that. I'm not telling anybody what to charge. They're going to charge what they're going to charge. But I've had a lot of customers from that particular dealer for that reason, what they did to that girl. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what escaped what, who's charging what. Don't know. Don't really care. And I went there myself once to get some. I called them up because I needed some valve shims for an older Yamaha, like a XS 1100 or whatever it was, which are the really big shim over buckets. I think they're 29.5 millimeter shims. So I called them up on the phone. You got these shims? Yep. I said, you sure? 29.5 millimeter for older Yamaha shim over bucket. Yep, we got them. Okay. So hop in the car. Me and my wife drive up there, trying to get there before closing time. And we get up there, and I walk in, and I'm like, well, yeah, I called on the phone a little bit ago about these, about 40 minutes ago, about these shims for a Yamaha XS 1100. And they're all looking around at each other like nobody knows dick all about anything. So somebody goes in the back there and comes back out and goes, no, we don't have those shims in here. They might have them in the service department. Okay, so I go back to the service department, and you're going to pardon my language here, please. I go back to the service department, and some big mook standing at the counter there. He's steadily staring at damn work order or whatever he was looking at. And I said, hey, man, you have any shims back there? I called up, and I called up about some shims for an XS 1100 Yamaha, the big 29.5 millimeter shims. And instead of saying, we don't have shims, or we don't have any, he says, we don't lend shims, we don't swap shims, whatever, So, first words out of my mouth are, I didn't fucking ask you if you lent them or borrowed them. I asked him if you had any. So he's just steady staring, won't even look at me, just steady staring at the fucking whatever he's looking at. Just rude. I said, so what you're telling me is you don't have any fucking shims. So he never answered. And then I guess, there's customers back there. So I'm cussing up a damn storm. So I guess the owner of the store, the general manager, whoever, somebody comes back, and he's like, what's going on here? And I said, man, I called up here all the way from Coates. That's like an hour drive from here to come up here to get some valve shims, which somebody on the phone told me they had. You guys had. So I rushed up here to get them. And then I get up here, and nobody knows nothing about valve shims. So they said maybe they got them in service. So I go back to the service department, And this fucking guy just tells me we don't lend shims, we don't swap shims. So also I want to know, do you have valve shims or not? And he's like, I really don't know. And I said, well, nobody in this fucking place knows nothing, do they? And left. And then called a place up there in North Raleigh, which was another probably 35, 40 minutes away. That's how it's almost in Wake Forest. I can't remember what the hell the name of the store was. They had just opened, and it was, they had like Yamaha, Suzuki, Kawasaki, I think, and a couple other brands. But called them up and asked them, like, what time you close? We close at 6. And I asked them, do you have any valve shims? Yeah, we got them. I said, you're sure you got them? He's like, I'm looking at them right here on the counter. Okay, cool. We'll be there when we get there. So we get up there, and it's like they close at 6, and it's like 6:05 or just 6:02, something like that, and the doors are locked. So I turn around to go get back in the car and leave. Here comes somebody outside, unlocking the door outside the store, and they're like, man, are you guys that called about the valve shims? Yeah. He's like, come on in. So I go in there. He's got 2 boxes of valve shims on the counter and a micrometer laid out already and a couple of bags. He's like, just look in there and get whatever you need. Okay. So I get the valve shims that I needed. You know, I've got them all written down what size I needed. I got all the valve shims I needed, and I didn't need that many. I needed like 6 maybe. No, it wasn't. It was like 4 valve shims because I was able to swap some of the other ones out between cylinders to get the clearances right. So I'm waiting to pay this guy, and I'm like, man, let me pay you. He's like, nah. Just take them and go. It's okay. I'll get you next time. Okay, cool. No problem. So from then on, that was my go-to place for import parts. You know, why go to somebody that's closer that are, pardon my French, but they're not cool people. They're not good people. They're not good business practices ever. So I always went to that other place, even though it was further, because they could, and they didn't do that shit where you call them up and they say, yeah, you know, standard answer, yeah, it's going to take 2 weeks to get the parts. You know, it don't take no 2 weeks to get aftermarket parts. Not when their warehouse is in North Carolina. You know, it takes a day at the most. And that's the way it works. So I started going to this other dealer, even though it was further away. Anyway, I'm just rambling now. So back to the point. Don't be screwing people over, shit like that. You know, don't be trying to make money off of one person. You know, spread it out a little bit. You know, if you want customers for years and years and years, spread the love. You know, go the extra mile for them. Don't look at him like, man, guy must be rich because he's got a $40,000 Harley. Chances are he's not. Chances are he's like everybody else. He's up to his eyeballs in freaking debt. He just had good credit so he could buy that 40 grand Harley or whatever. Anyway, that's enough ranting and preaching here. We're going to Rockingham tomorrow. Looks like it's going to be nice out, probably low 80s, high 70s, low 80s, no rain. So ought to be running some good times there tomorrow. Anyway, thanks for watching, and appreciate all of you. New subscribers, old subscribers, people that aren't subscribed, just watching my crap. I appreciate it. I really do. But that's it. Thanks, guys. Take care.